Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's a singer, songwriter, and keyboardist from Hillsboro, Oregon. He's part of Vortex, Zouse Lord, and Bomber Goggles, and also starters as well too. And also, he's a part of a collaboration which is called Red 32, which is considered the Space Age Steely Dan. He's also have an album cover made from recyclable post-consumer recycled material, and works with Steve Bonino, Robert Schneider, and Eric Cortez, and show off the album as well too. And they come from all over, like Orange County, California, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Las Cruces, New Mexico as well. We're going to talk about Red 32 and A Place to Call Home and more. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Hillsboro, Oregon. It's about ice age, climate change, nuclear war. This gentleman does it as well too. He also DJs on the side along with many other gigs, part of Red 32 and founder, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Tony Romero. Tony, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Tony. So you're a singer, songwriter, and keyboardist from Hillsboro, Oregon. You're also part of Vortex, Zouse Lord, Bomber Goggles, and more. And you also formed Red 32. And I'm sorry, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I'm not part of Chaos Lord or Bomber Goggles.
Okay,
These
all
are
right.
bands that I've been supporting for a long time on my radio show, and I'm very closely related to all these guys. I mean, we're all kind of really good friends. But yeah, no, I'm not part of their band. I am Tony Romero's Vortex, and Red 32 are my two bands.
Okay, God, we just want to double check on that one because the press release has been written all over that one. And you have an album cover, which is made of recyclable post-consumer material. And you work with, three gentlemen that basically just come from all the U.S. You got Steve Bonino from Orange County, California. You also got Robert Schneider out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and also Eric Confer of Las Cruces, New Mexico. So how'd you guys come together? We'll find out. And of course, your new song is talking about the ice age, climate change, nuclear war, and a virus outbreak at the point where Earth is going to be uninhabitable. And it appears it's going to be getting close as well to Red 32 featuring Place to Call Home and more tracks as well. Before getting all that, Tony, tell us how you first got started.
Well, we put out an album, my first album, Tony Romero's Vortex, and Steve Bonino worked pretty closely with me on that. And then, of course, my good buddy Robert Schindler added a bunch of keys to it. And we had a few guests along the way. Liz Tapia sang a song on there. Sophia Baird sang a beautiful track on there and also Peter Matushniak added some guitar. So when we started to work on the second album, the songs kind of started evolving differently. They felt different. It didn't feel like my project. It felt more of a group effort. So Steve had the idea of naming us. I was going to name the second album Red 32 in honor of my brother-in-law who we lost here a couple years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And so Steve had the idea like, hey, let's just name the band Red 32. And I was just like, wow, that's genius. And so we just kind of evolved it into something different than Tony Romero's Vortex. Tony Romero's Vortex is more about melodies, grooves, rhythms, things like that, where this is more melody driven, more songwriter driven. And it just evolved into something completely different. And we're very happy with the results.
And certainly indeed. And was it one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career?
No, I mean, I've been, playing music my whole life, and it's always been a dream to have an album out, and I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And so now we got lots coming up here in the future. We got more music coming up
And
from
certainly,
both bands.
and certainly did as well too. Or who are some of your favorite singers, songwriters, and musicians growing up?
I got
Besides
so
Steely Dan,
many.
of course. So
Well, yeah, Steely Dan is who we've been getting compared to. That Space Age Steely Dan thing, I think, is a pretty cool moniker. And, people try to, stereotype you into one type of music. There's so much different music on here. It's so far beyond Space Age Steely Dan. But if people had to pick something, I guess that was pretty cool. But I grew up listening to Yes, Frank Zappa, Led Zeppelin, jazz, soul, 70s pop, and blues. I mean, all kinds of influences over the years.
And certainly did as well too. And of course, you have your own influence and about to become an influence with Red 32 featuring A Place to Call Home. I'll talk about that with Tony Romero. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. And evil endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com or 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, along with BitChute, Rumble, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. And take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today and support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with amazing singer, songwriter, and keyboardist from Hillsboro, Oregon, and founder of Red 32, Tony Romero, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about the feature song, we're going to talk about A Place to Call Home. You also have on there Burn Into the Sun, Evil Never Sleeps, and also Late Bearing Creatures, Flow, the very first band in space, which I'm interested in, and also Mean, Slow Burn, Space Writer, and a tribute. And tell us more about those.
Well, I mean, if we want to start from the top here, Place to Call Some was the first single we released. That is the first track we actually put together as Red 32, and that just came through wonderfully. We really liked it. I mean, Steve Bonino did all the lyrics and does all the singing except for I do some backup singing and some spoken word. I do spoken word on that track. But then it really is just such a wonderful all the way through. I mean, the next song, Evil Never Sleeps, is probably the most progressive song on there. It's personally, I think, my favorite one on there. It takes a few nice twists and turns and some really nice bass lines on there. Wonderful keyboard, wonderful lyrics. I mean, Steve just knocked it out of the park on the lyrics. I mean, this guy is one of the best lyricists on the planet, and he can sing too. He's wonderful. And he's wonderful. Place to Call Home, we're going to talk about that here when you play it. Light Bearing Creatures, that's probably the most pop tune on there. That is almost a EDM driven groove, and I would definitely call that more pop, and I love that track. I think it came out wonderful. Flow is a extension of my track from Tony Romero's Vortex called Flowstrumental, which is a track that me and Robert Schindler put together, and we donated all the proceeds to the Bob Moog Foundation. So you can find that over on Bandcamp.
Oh, really? Bob Moog, who is he?
Yeah, Bob Moog is the inventor of the synthesizer, basically.
That's it. Okay, I was thinking of Robert. It's like, I was thinking of something else, but it's good to double check on that.
Yeah, Bob Moog is a legend. I mean, and so to keep his legacy on, there's a foundation in North Carolina, and I was lucky enough to have Michelle Moog on the show, and we talked about this, and she said she would love it if we put something together, and we donated all the proceeds. They all go, if you go to and buy the single off the Bob Moog Foundation Bandcamp, all the proceeds go to the charity, and the charity is they go around and they teach children about sound, not about synthesis, not about how to play the keyboard, but about how sound works, vibrations. and how sound is generated. So it's really, really a cool foundation, great for the kids. So anyway, sorry. So Flow is a extension of that. It's a vocal version of it, and it's really it's a soul tune. It's wonderful. Very first band in outer space is, I would call that progressive folk music. Mean is a kind of almost a heavy metal track, the most rock and roll track on there, that features the bass from Billy Allen does the bass on that one. Slow Burn, another progressive track which features Mike Sherrill on drums. Space Rider seems to be one of the most very well received tracks on the album, which I'm very surprised. And then Tribute is me talking about why we named the band Red 32. So you have to listen to Tribute, and that'll explain everything down to detail of why we named it Red 32.
And of course, Steve Bonino worked with you on Vortex as well too. How about the other guys, Robert Schindler and also Eric Confer as well too? How'd you guys all come together, and how'd you first meet?
Well, I'm a radio presenter as well. I've been broadcasting since 2009. Right now, I'm currently on houseofprog.com every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I've been playing these guys' music. That's how I met Steve, playing his music, Robert Schindler playing his music, and same with Eric Confer. Eric Confer his band is Chaos Lord. That's Eric Confer. And so we became good friends over the years, and it just made sense to just put us four together.
That sounds interesting as well too. Just all coming together, and nowadays it's like instead of bringing them to the studio, from across, it's like you can do it by Zoom and other means. It's getting more possible these days.
Yeah, with today's technology, you don't even have to be in the same room. I mean, it comes down to having somebody that knows how to arrange, mix, produce, which between me and Steve, we got that covered. And you cannot tell that we were not in the same room. I mean, these tracks came together so wonderfully, and the production value, I think, is very high, and that's due to today's technology, really.
And of course, it tells by the keyboards as well too, and you got a lot of that as well too. And I was hoping be behind the Moog synthesizer too. You've been talking about that.
Yeah, I don't even own a Moog at the moment. I used to have one, but they're too darn expensive for me. I'm a poor musician. So, but I do have quite the array of other synthesizers and keyboards and groove boxes.
And what first interested you in the Moog synthesizer, or got involved with the Bob Moog itself?
Well, that was Robert Schindler. Robert Schindler, a couple of his albums, he dedicated it all to the foundation. He donated all the money. And so that's how I got involved with the Bob Moog Foundation, is through Robert Schindler. He's very close with Michelle Moog, and the museum means a lot to him. The Bob Moog Museum in North Carolina means a lot to him. It means a lot to me too. I mean, without this guy, I wouldn't have all this behind me. I'd have, this wouldn't be what it is today. We wouldn't have these small compact synthesizers like you see behind me that have this big sound. You just wouldn't see that without Bob Moog. So
Okay.
yeah, Robert got me into that type.
Okay, that's interesting. You want to go ahead and give a little demonstration if you mind, or are they on or no?
They're not even on.
Oh, that's okay. I just thought you might have had them turned on for some reason. Some people leave them on, leave them off, and everything like that. So we just have all that.
No, it's quite, like some people's studios, they flip a switch and everything comes on. Well, mine don't work that way. I gotta manually turn everything on, plug in the mixer. So right now I don't have anything hooked up right now.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, at least we're on the Mike Widener show. That's the best part about it.
Right.
And of course, you've been like House of Prague and everything else. So what are some other projects you're also involved with too? And besides you were in Vortex, Red 32, you got your House of Prague, and oh yes, you got Vortex, and a bit more about that. And is that the same thing as being made from recyclable post-consumer materials also?
Yes, it is. And this is my new CD that's coming out this Saturday, September 23rd. You will be able to hear it on my show live, 1 p.m. Eastern, House of Prague, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Central European time. This is a meditation album. This is completely different from anything else I've done. This is meditation, calmness, hypnotic, wellness, trance, sleep, calmness. That's all what this is, and that's what it's dedicated to. And this is my first where I did all the writing, I did all the production, the arrangements. I do have 3 guests on here. Of course, I've got my buddy Steve Bonino laying some bass down on a couple tunes, Robert Schindler adding some wonderful texture, and Pete Matusniak adding some guitar to one of the songs on there. Other than that, though, this is like, for me, it's just a total solo album. This comes out on Melodic Revolution Records this Saturday, September 23rd.
And also the album cover made from recyclable post-consumer recycled material. And once again, you show us that. And what are some of the materials that are being like recycled and everything else? It seems like a really interesting concept. What you recycle from, like what materials?
I couldn't answer that, but I can tell you Atomic Disc does a wonderful job. They're from Salem, Oregon, right here, right down the block, about 45 minutes from where I live. And yeah, they use all recyclable materials. I don't know exactly what they use to recycle. I couldn't answer that for you.
Oh, that's okay. We can just tell us where you can purchase the release and everything else. We'll talk more about A Place to Call Home with Tony Romero of Red 32 in just a minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundWrap Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Molson's Missing. We'll be back with the amazing Tony Romero of Red 32 after this time out. We're back with Red 32's Tony Romero here on the Mike Wagner Show, and we'll talk. And we got the release called "A Place to Call Home." We'll be playing this at the end of the audio interview on the Mike Wagner Show. We encourage you to go the audio version of it. Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podbean, any place you can get audio podcasts and everything. And A Place to Call Home. It's basically about ice age, climate change, nuclear war, virus outbreak, and tell us more about the song. What inspired you to write it?
Well, Steve wrote the lyrics. Usually our songs will start with, I'll come up with some kind of groove or rhythm or a melody, and we'll see if we want to take it any further. So I'll usually have a general idea. Steve has this knack of whatever I name a song, he will write lyrics that match it and that make sense. That's why I say this guy's just a genius. He's just the most amazing lyricist. And, this is a big deal for us, this type of thing. And especially for Steve, he's very much into the environment. And if you listen to some of his other albums like Stargazer or even Bomber Goggles is super environment oriented. It is all about the big plastic islands that are floating out in the ocean where they're dumping the things they can't recycle, so they make these islands and they just drift them out to sea. It's a lot about stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see message in a bottle, Pepsi, Coke, and just about everything like that.
Right.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's mostly there on Steve, off one of the grooves that I came up with. So
And of course, there's a thing about nuclear war, virus outbreak, and of course, being where it's going to be uninhabitable, and of course, it could come to that point pretty soon too. So,
yeah, for sure. And A Place to Call Home is, it's touching on what if we have to leave our planet? What if we have to find a new home? What if we have to drift around in space and find a new planet to call home? And again, that's Steve. That is his genius, and his, this is his songwriting right here.
And of course, what else do you base your lyrics on when it comes to music?
Well, like I said, Steve's, does most of the lyrics. So a lot of times they generate from whatever I name a song. Sometimes, they're, like Evil Never Sleeps. That's one that was just driven purely off the name of one of my songs. And it just evolved into this. Sometimes they don't even sound anything like what they started with. And sometimes we even changed the name of the song altogether, like Slow Burn changed like 5 times.
Oh my goodness.
So, we got to kind of go with that feel, at the end, like, maybe this don't feel like, what we're calling it at the moment. So we change it. So,
and of course, if there's other music we haven't covered or other songs, feel free to talk about as well.
Well, there's so many great songs on here. I personally, I think that like I said, Evil Never Sleeps to me is just phenomenal. It's so well crafted, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but when I listen back to it, it's one of those songs that you go, wow, I am so proud to be part of this band. And Flow is another one for me that really gets me because the vocals are so amazingly soulful and the harmonies are just absolutely gorgeous. Um, Light-bearing creatures, you can hear me. They're actually singing there in the chorus, which is cool. And then there's a couple of, I think, truthfully, Mean is cool because it really, you're not expecting it at that point in the album. The album's kind of drifted into a few different genres, but then all of a sudden Mean hits you. And it's kind of like a slap in the face because it just hits really hard, really fast, and it's really cool.
It's like, wake up, come on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Certainly do. And where can we find Red 32 and all your works, all your music at, Tony?
red32.bandcamp.com is the place to buy that CD. Tony Romero's Vortex.bandcamp.com. You can find my first CD, which is called Noise Machine. That was put out 2 years ago, December. And then this Saturday, you will be able to purchase a copy of my brand new one called Zen. So, and then if you want to purchase a copy of Flow Instrumental and have your proceeds go to the Bob Moog Foundation, go to the Bob Moog Foundation.bandcamp.com.
We'll certainly do that as well. We'll certainly do that as well. Once again, with the amazing Tony Romero, singer, songwriter, keyboardist of Red 32 here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more minutes, Tony. What else can we expect in 2023 and beyond?
Well, we're going to start working on the second album. Unfortunately, we're all musicians and we all have our own projects. Eric does his Chaos Lord. He also goes under Eric J. Confer. Robert Schindler is Roby One is his official band name, and that's him. He does everything himself. Every little piece on every one of his CDs is just him. He is just amazing musician. So he's got his stuff he's working on. Steve Bonino's involved in about 8 projects at a time.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes the production is a little slow on our band because, we have our own projects as well. Fortunately, I just finished mine, so I got a lot of time on my hands for the moment. But we're going to start working on Red 32 too. We're gonna
Oh, nice. Yeah, keep us up to date for sure on that one. I'd love to hear more. So, and also too, Anthony, Tony, who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
Oh, Frank Zappa, without a doubt. Frank Zappa taught me to be open to lots of different types of music, to loosen up, relax, not take music so seriously, and have a good time while listening to just one of the most genius people in the world. I mean, the most genius musician. So, oh yeah, without a doubt.
And certainly indeed. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Have fun playing music. If you want to play something, it doesn't matter how good you are or how good you think you are. If you have fun playing it, play it. If you want to buy a guitar and strum the same chord over and over because that's what you're good at, by all means, do it. And nobody will laugh at you if you're having a good time. So just enjoy what you do regardless of what you think of yourself.
I think I'll do that. Just get a guitar online, just play one chord. It'll be Neil Young, just one chord, Neil. So,
as long as you're enjoying what you hear, it doesn't matter. That's what music is about. It's about bringing pleasure, and the sound is about, bringing your happiness. So.
That's certainly a really good point as well. I like that. We're here with Tony Romero of Red 32. We'll be playing A Place Called Home at the end of the audio view here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Tony, just want to say a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you in soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
You can find me on Facebook. DJ Tony Romero is where you'll find me there. You can find me on all the major music venue, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, Spotify, all the big venues. You can find Red 32 and Tony Romero's Vortex. The best way to get a hold of me is Facebook. It's the easiest way to advertise. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just look up DJ Tony Romero. And then check out my Bandcamp, Tony Romero's bandcamp.com, red32.bandcamp.com.
We'll certainly check that out. Once again, Tony, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Wish you all the best. And Tony, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show. Great to meet you. Everybody have a wonderful week.